Hello, my dear students. Today we'll look into the topic of the principles of organization. As we all know that organization is a collection of people working together in a coordinated and structured fashion in order to achieve one or more goals. It is a system of consciously coordinated activities or force of two or more persons. So, as far as the administrative structure is concerned, or an organization is considered to be an essential part for the administrative machinery to operate. So, we need to give much highlight on the principles of organization. So, when you see the organizing thing, it encompasses the authority, the chain of command, delegation, span of control, and the work specialization. Coming into the principles of the organization, it is a basic statement or a fundamental truth that provides the understanding and guidance to thinking and practice. Kuhns, he has listed out the important principles of organization in the following manner: of the purpose of organizing, the cause of organizing, the structure of the organization which deals with authority, the structure of organization which gives importance to departmentation, and the last one is the process of organizing. So the next important slide over here is the important principles of organization in general. So when you look over there, it consists of the unity of objectives, specialization, coordination, authority, responsibility, delegation, efficiency, unity of command, span of control, balance, communication, personal ability, flexibility, and simplicity. All these forms and very great principles of the organization. So if these principles are being followed in one such organization, that organization would function so effectively and efficiently for the welfare of the community. So when you see there the features of an organizational structure, it highlights the key features: the centralization and decentralization, span of control, work specialization, departmentalization, chain of command, and formalization. You need to remember all these 6 features in a nutshell. So when you remember all these 6 features, you will understand the importance of the organization and how it functions. Coming into the major important principle of the organization, which is called as hierarchy or the scalar process. Literally, hierarchy means the rule of control of the higher over the lower. It is a graded organization of several successive levels in which one of the lower level is immediately subordinate to the next higher one, and through it to the other higher steps right up to the top. The shape of the administrative structure is that of a pyramid. Mooney and Reilly call it the scalar process. They say that a scale means a series of steps, something graded. In organization, it means the grading of duties not according to different functions but according to the degrees of authority and corresponding responsibility. So you can see there the hierarchical organizations which forms a pyramid. The basic features of hierarchical structure are: a person will have only one immediate superior from whom he will receive orders. A person will not receive orders from the lower status, and there will not be any intermediate level, and a person who is given the responsibility for a task will have the authority commensurate with this responsibility. So from the above features, it is clear that the authority, command and control descend from the top to the bottom step by step. For example, the secretary of the department will deal with the joint secretary, who in turn shall deal with the deputy secretary, who further shall deal with the under secretary. Similarly, the upward communications shall also be exactly the same when a section officer deals with higher officers. It grows from bottom to the top. Looking into the merits of hierarchy, the hierarchical system serves as an instrument of integration and coherence. The first important merit is it binds together the various units and divisions into an integrated whole. It acts as a link which joins the various sections of an organization most harmoniously. It enables us fixed responsibility at each level. It serves as a channel of communication both upwards and downwards. It simplifies the procedure for file movements. It helps to decentralize decision making and prevents congestion of business at the top. There are also demerits as far as the hierarchy is concerned because it creates superior subordinate relationship. Procedure through the proper channel may create unnecessary delay in administration. Red tapeism is another possible defect. It will have too much rigidity in administration. Human relationship, which is the essence of good administration, will be missing here. As the direction flows from top to bottom, it kills the initiative of the lower officers, consequently resulting into indecisiveness and efficiency. The next important principle of the organization is the span of control. The number of subordinates which a superior officer can effectively supervise, direct and control is called as the span of control. It is simply the number of subordinates or the units of work that an administrator can personally direct. In the words of Democ, the span of control is the number and range of direct habitual communication contacts between the chief executive of an enterprise and his principal fellow officers. V.A. Grahunas describes this concept is related to the principle of span of attention. So you can understand very well what is the span of control by this diagram. The number of people who report to one manager in a hierarchy, the more people under the control of one manager, it's called as a wider span of control, and the less means a narrow span of control. For example, the span of control of 4 of the marketing manager is being determined over here. This is the span of control of 3. You can see over there the narrow span of control and the wider span of control. These are the two types of the span of control. So this picture will clearly establish what is the span of control, the types of span of control, comparison of the wide and the narrow span of control, and the most important thing, the pros and cons of the wide span of control and the narrow span of control. So looking into the pros of the wider span of control, it gives the quick decision making, bureaucracy is reduced, development of the lower level, coordination is easy, reduced cost of competition, employees do all the tasks, manager feel motivated. Coming into the narrow span of control, the advantages are the personal contact of the employees, pretty organized team structure, benefit of specialization. So this is all about the span of control. You can understand very well by having a close look of all these features. So still in the administrative structure, the span of control is under revision because the increasing use of automation in administration, the information revolution, and the growing role of the specialist are chiefly responsible for such change. So the automation and the mechanical process have resulted in the simplification and expediting of communications. The use of the latest means of communications has hardened the span of control, so that the length of the span of control has increased and the superior can control more subordinates. Thus, the job of the chief executive is now more of coordination than of the supervisor and the controller. The next principle is a unity of command, where no individual employee should be subjected to the orders of more than one immediate superior. Each individual employee shall have only one man as a superior and shall receive orders only from him. If he gets orders from more than one officer, it may be difficult for him to discharge his duties. Responsibility can be fixed only if we know where the authority rests, and this is not possible if the authority stands divided. Absence of conflict in orders, exercise of effective supervision over the employee, and clear fixation of responsibility are the advantages of the unity of command. So you can have a look over here that too many cooks spoil the soup. So each employee must have one and only boss. In other words, a subordinate must report to only one supervisor, which makes the work so efficient. Coming into the unity of command, it has been seriously affected by the increasing number and growing influence of the staff and auxiliary agencies. Here, the experts only work only as advisors. It is also argued that its violation does not occur when an employee receives orders from more than one superior in one and the same matter. But when we look into the unity of command, there are lots of advantages. The first one being the better relationship among the superior and the subordinates, clear authority and responsibility. It reduces the duplication of work. Prompt or quick decisions can be made over here. Good, effective and efficient discipline could be maintained. Better coordination and teamwork may prevail. It boosts morale and positive attitude of the workers. It leads to higher productivity of goods and services. Therefore, the unity of command is essential to the economy of our time. For example, warfare in the field was like a siege. By directing all one's force to a single point, a breach might be made and the equilibrium of opposition destroyed. These are the wordings of the great Napoleon Bonaparte. But there are still disadvantages, like the power balance will be so delicate. Projects compete for resources. Division of authority and responsibility is complex. Matrix management violates the management principle of the unity of command. So finally, we have come into the significance of organizing an organization. There are lots and lots of principles for the organization to run over the administrative structure. So when we see there, it benefits the socialization, the role clarity, optimum utilization of resources, coordination and effective administration. There is an adoption to change and it expands and grow more and more. So by now you would have understood the major principles of an organization. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all again in the next video with another important topic.